Hey everyone, in this video I'll be breaking down all the major changes in PALWORLD's 1.0.3 update. There are also some hidden updates in this that I'll be breaking down and going over everything you need to know. There are some really great changes here, like Jet Dragon now is available to fly at level 70. You also don't have to grind as much for the World Tree Holy Water, and we even got some name changes with Snock now becoming Terra instead of Lux. I also saw some people saying that Sekhmet's work speed here does not work, but it seems that the alpha version of this is an intended mechanic. Now, if you don't see the work speed jump up, it is only while it is active at one of these bases here. So if it is working on something, check it again and you'll see its stats jump up that 400%. There was also an unlisted change here to Immortality, which I believe to be a visual bug. It says it now absorbs 100% of damage dealt and restores your health. However, this is still the 5% that it was previously. It seems to just be a visual glitch, and we'll likely update this in the future. But honestly, one of the greatest updates here is the overall balance in the level progression here in the technology tree. Some massive changes. Previously, Jet Dragon was available at level 79. By the time you'd want to use Jet Dragon, you wouldn't. So with this, it is now brought back down to level 70 here, which means that you can get Jet Dragon's ability to fly before you go and fight, for example, Panthalus. Same thing here, Eidolon is around level 68, always has been that way, but I think this makes sense because Eidolon in a lot of situations is better than Jet Dragon. Another massive buff and change is that you can now get the aquatic construction kit at level 23. So this is nice because normally you'd have to wait till level 66, which at that point you already have your bases set up. So huge quality of life change. And technically another change here, the large fishing pond. What's great about that is you can now get World Tree Holy Water alongside many other locations in this game. This is one of the most annoying grinds in the game, and I'm really happy to see they made changes across the board for World Tree Holy Water. And another massive change is that it no longer weighs 1 pound per bottle here. So it now does 0.1 times that, so you can carry a lot more of it in your inventory, just a lot less frustrating to farm. And in addition to it being available from large fishing ponds that you can have at your base and get manually, there's another manual way to get the World Tree Holy Water, which is PAL Expeditions. I was kind of shocked that this wasn't something you would get right off the rip here, because it just makes sense that if you're going to be doing a World Tree Forbidden Area expedition, you would see World Tree Holy Water there. This is also one of the best ways to get the Dark Radiant Gems so you can awaken Dark Pals, because they haven't updated it yet to fix some of the pals in the World Tree to properly drop the Dark Radiant Gems. You may have noticed that a lot of pals will drop electric radiant gems, and this is a lot of dark types, but the Falorous bird duos here will both drop them. And unfortunately with Stella, the dark type pal here is one that you would expect to get dark gems from, but nope, you get electric. And there you see it there. So yeah, there is work that needs to be done on the loot table, especially in the World Tree, because if you're trying to grind out awakening gems for the strongest and most common type of pal in the game, dark type, you don't have many options here. Venusa is another one that doesn't drop the correct gems, so hopefully we'll see that in a future update. And some more good news, if you enjoy fishing in this game, the World Tree Holy Water will drop at a much higher rate from this as well. And from my testing, it's like double the amount. So set up a team for dedicated fishing, which is kind of what you have to do in this game, and you're going to reap the benefits. It's actually crazy. Now, they also increased the amount of World Tree Holy Water gain from Teafant Springs. Now, if you don't know what the Teafant Springs are, there's one on the map just right here. So we're looking at minus 1727, 1396. When you come here, you'll see a little statue here, which you can touch and give yourself some World Tree Holy Water. It'll also give you a full heal. We got 30 from that there, and previously I don't think it was many at all. I think it was like 4. So yeah, that is a large improvement here and makes it worth hunting these down. There's a few others in the location, but not a way you'd want to farm World Tree Holy Water, but it's nice to see they're changing things like this. Now, another nice update here is that they made it so ancient armors are a lot cheaper to create, but one of my favorites is the fibers from trees. These were one of the most annoying resources to gather in the game, so you now get a lot more fiber. Unfortunately, my anti-stutter mod's not updated as of yet, so yeah, there is some stutters that I've noticed with this update as mods just wait to get updated here, but yeah, you can see that there. Fiber is equaling roughly like half the amount of wood that you're getting from these trees here, so yeah, that is a lot better than the like 3 to 4 you'd be getting naturally. Now, another change here is the bases for crude oil extractors. They've reduced the cost of these. These are really expensive to make. I did post a video last night where you can create 10 of these in one spot. You actually still can do it, I mentioned in the video, but what you want to do is spam F11 and then start spamming the mouse button at the same time. Previously, this is a way to be able to duplicate your items, which is no longer possible, but you can get 10 oil down in one location by still doing this, as long as you have the resources available to craft it. But again, I think this is a nice change that you're now able to place this without, bankrupting yourself with creating all that. But another change is that you can now use the high pressure variant to complete the quests that required you to use the regular old one, because not everyone wants to set up in a base that has oil. There are a few great locations. These isles on the side of the map will have 3 nodes in one section here. So in this base, you can see 1, 2, 3, and even better is you can also go 1, 2, 3 right there. Both the isles will have this same setup, so you can go ahead and grab a bunch of oil that way, but it's nice to know that it's now cheaper, and it also will give you more resources. So that is another really nice update that they've added. So yeah, oil is less annoying to farm, and there's like a big bottleneck that you hit in the mid game. So a lot of these updates seem to be balanced around making the mid game less annoying. Now this is a really cool new server setting. They added a base to allow enemy camp spawn near a base camp, which suppress normally enemies from spawning near base camps. Now this is something that's kind of funny because it also seems to impact supply drops from what I've noticed. So yeah, you literally can go and set up. I had a base that I set up around right here. This is a spot that you'll get a guaranteed work suitability book that can upgrade your pal's work suitability. And actually what's funny is there's 2 drops that'll happen right here, but if you set your base on this island, it wouldn't pop up. So you can now put it a little bit closer. Previously I used to put a base right there and grab those 2 books as common as they can come. You can also change your world settings to make those more likely. So yeah, if you want to max out your pal's work suitability, for example, if you want your Mimog to get max transporting so you can actually do a lot of stuff, that'd be the way to do it. There were some graphical changes here, so display quality of some objects in dungeons, and also the display in areas to make it easier to see from a distance. I didn't notice the difference in dungeons. It might be more so a console thing. Maybe they just tidied up the performance on that. But yeah, the graphics do, have an update to them. I personally haven't noticed it, but I do play with mods, so that can impact things as I use some mods for the overall graphics to make things a little smoother. And I do know a lot of people are having issues with overall graphics and performance of this game on consoles and on PC. And I'm not alone with that, because I also have to download anti-stutter mods to get this to work properly on my setup. They fix a major bug in Sunreach. So basically, if you were trying to do the Sunreach quests and you didn't end up getting the barrier down to do the tower boss correctly, there was a bug I know that was impacting some people there, so that is great. They also fixed bugs where you could actually teleport during boss tower fights. And there was some stuttering during cutscenes that play when you enter the world tree, so that seems to be fixed. They also fixed issues on dedicated servers where pals could appear to vibrate rapidly on the client screen. Mine, someone for whatever reason still vibrate, but yeah, it is an update, I guess, for dedicated servers. They also fixed an update where your summoned pal could stop fighting. So yeah, if you summoned out a pal, sometimes when it was fighting, it would just stop and start like cutting a tree or something. This seems to be a fixed in this update. And also with base work. Now they didn't fix the bug that, let's say you cut down a tree at your base and yeah, that tree respawns. The pals still don't treat it as though it got fixed, or like when it regrows, they don't treat it as an item. So that will hopefully get updated in the future, but as of right now, it doesn't seem to be happening. They also fixed this here containing Orzerk's passive skill. Now, this is something I was telling people on multiplayer servers. It still works. It was a visual bug, and they confirmed that it was a visual bug. So for everyone that come to my video saying that Orzerk's terrible because he doesn't work in multiplayer, he was working. It just didn't show on screen. And then, as typical with the internet, it just gets parroted around by a lot of people. But yeah, that was always working. It just was a display based issue. So really nice to see that they updated that to bring some clarity. They also made it so Alpha Serpent will now properly create leather, but I mean, not a lot of people are probably doing that. They also fixed a wave issue and an actual damage range did not match for some of Panthless's attacks. I've seen some people saying that Panthless can one-shot them at times, and it's weird. Sometimes he can one-shot my character as well, even with really high defense stats. So there seems to be lots of bugs that do pop up with new content, and that's kind of traditional for most games. But they also fixed an issue with base building where placement detections for stairs and slanted roofs would fail to match their actual shape. Nice. So yeah, easier base building, and stairs could not be placed properly in the sides of foundations or roofs. That is a huge change, and I've noticed it because sometimes you want to place like stairs down in an area. I like to build very vertical bases. It's typically how I do all my bases. And yeah, sometimes building down with stairs is annoying, but it seems to be fixed. It appears, though, the Moon Lord battle and Ultra Raid battle has not been updated for its intended settings, so the drops seem to have been changed there. I think it's not dropping the IV fruits anymore. Fixed an issue where items could duplicate when performing certain actions, and yeah, that is something that I posted about multiple times with the way you could actually press F11 and spam it, and funny enough, when I originally posted this video, there was no other videos on it out there, and I did something that was not needed to be done in that glitch, and then a bunch of other videos that came out also included that unnecessary step, which is kind of funny, but yeah, that's no longer possible to duplicate items. So they also fixed catchers with partner skill. I didn't know this was a thing, but you could get different type of spears because it can make a 50% chance to not consume a spear. Also fixed an issue World Tree Holy Water effect did not correctly display on the PAL being rid when using that water while riding, so they updated the overall aura for that. And they also updated so when you beat the final boss on hard, you do get the proper psychogravity skill from it. And also unfortunate, they did change the shot intervals of the sphere launcher, so you can no longer spam sphere launchers. Like, some weapons in this game fire as fast as you shoot your mouse like that. The sphere launcher was one of those. It was crazy with an auto clicker, and now it is no longer possible. There were some issues with UI text and display, which would not appear properly if in full screen, or if you press F11, which changes from full screen to minimum. They did fix an issue where effects were on screen while aiming, the entire screen will become blurred. Unfortunately for me, if I aim down sights and there's more pals on the screen, especially if I'm fighting, I get massive amounts of lag and stuttering. That is because I have to use a mod to prevent that, but hopefully they'll get fixed in a future update. They also fixed the overall sound effects on the Teafant Spring, as well as background music for attack helicopters, and properly for when you're wanted as well, and fixed an issue where footstep sounds can play when on furniture or facilities. They also fixed the keyboard key assigning here, which would not restore to its default settings if you selected default, and also fixed an issue where it could be applied unintentionally when changing a confirmed dialogue and duplicate key while in controls, which caused some issues, and fixed an issue where the beach-like display would remain on the world's surface after it's fast traveling to an offshore base. So overall, just a lot of changes across the board to UI. Balance throughout the mid-game is really nice that they changed that. They did remove a couple exploits, but that's to be expected. I think one of the best changes they did not mention is Snock is now not Snock Lux, is now Snock Terra, because he's brown. So yeah, that is a nice change. I'm glad that they see that they fixed that, because Snock is a really cool pal, and an unfortunate victim of holy water farming, which is no longer really needed. So yeah, Snock populations will begin to rise. But let me know your thoughts on these new updates for PALWORLD's 1.0.3 update. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next one.